All right, so it is time to give my predictions for this upcoming Nintendo Direct. I'm very excited. I have a great feeling about this one for many reasons. First of all, we all know that this is going to be a 60-minute Nintendo Direct, 1 hour presentation, which means it's got to have a lot to show us. Now, the original Switch 2 Nintendo Direct that aired months ago, revealing us the console and all of that, 30 minutes of that presentation was, just centered around the console itself, right? Which is cool, which is really awesome, and they did a really good job. And they did a good job of promoting the console. Now, when it comes to the games, I felt like they did okay for the most part. My only problem being that they spent way too much time on third party, on the voice chat thing, on Mario Party Jamboree, stuff like that. I'm just like, I could care less. Please show us some other good games. Donkey Kong Bonanza was really great. The Kirby Air Riders reveal was cool, but I had no idea what the game was. And it was just a little teaser, they didn't show us gameplay. If they had shown us gameplay, I would have been like, whoa, that looks awesome. But thankfully, they gave us the 45-minute Sakurai Direct for that, and it looks freaking awesome, and that might be one of the best games of the year. It's my most anticipated game right now. You got the Dusk Bloods game as well. You got the Hyrule Warriors game. So yeah, they showed us a decent amount of first-party games. Just a decent amount, and I thought they did okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I would say it was good. It was good. I thought it could have been a lot better, especially when you're trying to you're showing off a brand new console. You got to give people great reasons to want to buy it, right? I forgot about Mario Kart World. That was another one. Anyways, so guys, I am super excited for this Nintendo Direct because it's not going to waste 30 minutes, talking about the console itself. So that means there's going to be tons of room for lots of first-party games, and maybe even some third-party exclusives, which I always love when they have third-party exclusives. Will that happen? I don't know. Will we see like a Red Steel 3, Devil's Third Remastered, things like that? Shit like that I would love to see. Games that deserve another chance, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who actually enjoy those video games. How about like a Mad World 2? You remember Mad World 2? I would much rather have a brand new Mad World game over Bayonetta. Bayonetta, yeah, fun game, but I think if we're being real, Mad World is probably where it's at. Now, here's going to be my predictions on what will be to come in this Nintendo Direct. And as far as first party is concerned, I've already predicted that F-Zero will be announced and shown, a new F-Zero game. Now, this is just a very bold prediction, all right? I know that it's a very slim chance, and the reason I'm predicting this, yesterday I realized that there were 6 core F-Zero games in the franchise. So because of that, it is possible that this might be one of the mystery games that has the 7 in the title. And I hope that's the case, because that would be a huge, shocking reveal. Nobody else is really predicting that. Most people I told this will be the game. I think I told Player Essence, and he's like, nah, it's not going to be that game or whatever. So yeah, people are just acting like it's going to be, just 3 third-party games. I think some people are saying 007 will be one of them. That will be very disappointing. A game we already know about. A game that has been shown off at that lame State of Play, PlayStation State of Play, because they don't have their own games to show off. But yeah, I would be very disappointed if that whole thing that Switch Force, confirmed or whatever about 3 mystery games having the number 7 in it. I would be very disappointed if it's just a big nothing burger and it's just Resident Evil 7, 007, and some other game that's already been out or that people already know about that have the 7 in it. That would suck. That would be lame, and it would just show how freaking corny that guy is, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it is an F-07. They could just, give us F-07 as the title in the beginning, but then reveal the true title at the end of the trailer. And that would be freaking awesome. An F-Zero game would be badass, and what I would like to see would be an F-Zero game that's similar to Mario Kart World, where it's an open world game, but you're also like playing as Captain Falcon, and you're collecting bounties, and you're chasing criminals and things like that. At some point, you maybe have to get out of the vehicle and chase them on foot. You have to like beat up bad guys that get in your way, like punch them really quick, and just like kind of like a sprinting simulator. Kind of like, wasn't there like a game called Mirror's Edge or something like that? It was like a running simulator, and you had to dodge obstacles and stuff when you're chasing after somebody. That would be freaking cool for an F-Zero game, because it's all about racing, it's all about speed. So I think that would make perfect sense. And then even add like a death race mode, a battle arena where you guys have weapons attached to your vehicles and you can destroy each other. That would be perfect for an F-Zero game. Okay, so besides F-Zero, I'm also predicting we might get a Punch-Out game. I'm predicting that we'll get a really big Punch-Out game where you play as Little Mac, and there will be a story mode, a compelling story mode. And in that story mode, there'll be kind of like RPG elements where you basically have to fight bad guys in like a beat 'em up arcade style, like in like the city, back alleys and things like that. Whenever you're traveling to go to the gym, to go to the next arena, things like that, taking a subway to get to another event or whatever, and there's just bad guys coming after you and you got to beat them up. Have the game be centered around the corruption that takes place in boxing. That would be super cool. And it would even be super cool if there's like a crossover between Punch-Out and Street Fighter, where you could probably get in a rivalry with Ryu and beat the crap out of him. There's people always making stupid pictures of Ryu fighting Little Mac and things like that, and I would just love to play as Little Mac and whoop that guy's ass. That would be so freaking awesome. Maybe even have some kind of like love triangle going on with Chun-Li thrown in the mix. That would be freaking cool. So something to really raise up the popularity of Punch-Out, I think that would be perfect. A perfect way to revive the series and make it better than ever before. Now, another surprise game I would like to see make its big return would be Star Fox, of course. I would love to see the return of Star Fox. People keep saying they want to see like a Star Fox Assault type of game instead of like a Star Fox N64 or whatever, and they said that they've remade the N64 version like 4 or 5 times. I don't really know, to be honest, because I have never really played enough of Star Fox. The one Star Fox game I played the most of was Starlink, and people are saying that doesn't count. It's like, well, screw you, because that was actually a really fun game, and that's how Star Fox should be right now in this day and age. It shouldn't be locked in its box and its little like arcade style gameplay. It should be where you can fly anywhere you want, fly to multiple planets. That was an awesome freaking game, and it pisses me off how only 88,000 people bought that game. If I'm correct, I mean, when I searched the numbers, it was like only 88,000. Absolutely abysmal, absolutely pathetic. Who are the idiots that didn't want to buy this game? I don't know. That was a Ubisoft game, and that was back then when Ubisoft was good at working with Nintendo and making some good third-party exclusives. And it seems like a lot of people didn't really show enough appreciation. So, very pissed off about that. Very angry and annoyed about that. But I think Nintendo may have still looked at that game, maybe even have played it and say, you know what? We can do something with this. We can actually make our own Star Fox game like this. And I think it would be really cool if they make a Star Fox game that has like both steampunk and sci-fi dimensions in it, where one moment the planets are like sci-fi, but then you go through some kind of like dimension portal and then everything's more like steampunk or whatever, and it's kind of like a different universe. I think that would just be really freaking cool. I think the reason why I would like that is because I have a Switch game that is basically kind of like a Star Fox game, but it's like 2D. And I probably have to check really quick to see what game that is, because I know I have that game somewhere. Let's see. Let me check to see if I still have that game sitting around somewhere. All right, here we go. Sin Mora X, or Sin Mora X, I believe that's what it's called, by THQ Nordic. Now, this was a really fun game. It's basically just like I said, a Star Fox type of game where it's like 2D and you're moving your jet, your plane up and down and shooting like that. I loved the art style and the missions in this game. It seemed like it was just kind of like it had like a steampunk aesthetic for sure. That's a game I highly recommend you guys check out. Very fun. The visuals, the art style was great. The gameplay was great. And I remember like thinking to myself, that'd be cool if there was like a steampunk Star Fox game. So that's just something I want to see, as a Star Fox game that has both steampunk and sci-fi level designs added to it. All right, so moving on from that, I am predicting we're going to finally get the Kirby Planet Robobot. Now, some people have brought it to my attention that Nate the Hate and some other people out there have confirmed that the game will be remastered for the Switch and Switch 2. And so that pretty much means we'll be getting a deluxe version of that game, which is freaking awesome. I will play the hell out of that game. I'm already playing it right now on my 3DS. Fun game, awesome concept. I love the concept of just going inside of a robot suit and absorbing the enemy's abilities with that suit, and then you basically have like the same power-ups, but now it's like it's kind of like different because it's in a mech suit. It's really cool. It's a great game. They did a good job with the level designs as well. Yeah, it's a great game. So hopefully we get a deluxe version of that announced here at this Nintendo Direct. Now, as for like a big third-party exclusivity reveal, or perhaps not even a third party, perhaps it'll be like just a straight up exclusive, I think it would be so freaking awesome if out of nowhere they dropped a GoldenEye remastered game for the Switch 2, exclusive to the Switch 2. Now, Spawnwave had confirmed that, you know, the group of people who've been trying to do a remastered of this game, who've been trying to remaster 007 GoldenEye, basically said that they couldn't because Nintendo still owns some rights to the game and whatever, and they came to Nintendo and Nintendo's like, oh yeah, you're not gonna make that game for any other platform. They didn't say you're not gonna make that game, period. They said you're not gonna make it for any other platform because, you know, Nintendo is all about their exclusivity. They don't share their games with anybody else because they don't have to, and they would rather go out of business before they do that. So what if instead of the 007 game that everyone's talking about right now, that the one that where you play as the young version of James Bond, what if they actually just surprise us with the original 007 GoldenEye and it's fully remastered, and they bring back Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, not that fucking hack Daniel Craig. They actually bring back Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, and maybe even bring back I forget the other guy's name, the British guy who was 006 or whatever, but I know that actor, I believe, is still alive, so they bring him back as well. Oh man, that would be such an awesome surprise. You know, that would be a good way to trick us, because so many people are like, oh, 007, that's going to be one of the games. It's got 7 in it, and it ends up being true, but it's not that 007. It's actually GoldenEye fucking remastered. That would be super awesome. So that's gonna be another weird and bold prediction I'm gonna make just for the hell of it. I want to make these bold predictions that are just way out of left field. And finally, they are definitely going to talk about Kirby Air Riders and Metroid Prime 4, since these are the big holiday titles. Now, the YouTube channel known as Nintendo Forecast had made a very interesting video about the parallels between Kirby and Metroid, and how they've been like purposefully releasing both of those games side by side in certain parts of the year. And it almost seemed like they're trying to get more people to purchase those games. So instead of putting them next to a big Mario game or next to a big Zelda game. No, they'll keep them far away from those games and just have them release close to each other, right? And I think that makes sense. I think that's a cool way to try to grow the Kirby and Metroid franchise. They definitely want Kirby to be an A-list franchise. Same for Metroid. They want that to be an A-list franchise. And so they're definitely going to talk more about these games. Now, what exactly do I think they're going to talk about in this presentation regarding these games? Well, for Kirby Air Riders, they're just going to show us more content, more things to sell us on the game, probably more characters to play as, more racetracks, more game modes. Hopefully there'll be way more modes. I hope they'll bring back the top-down view, just because that mode looked like it was kind of fun, even though some people say they didn't like it, but there's a lot of people who did like it. So I'm curious to see them bring that back and make it better than it was before. And I am hoping they're going to reveal a story mode. Story mode for Kirby Air Riders would be great. Giant boss battles, things of that nature. That would be super sick and solid. For Metroid Prime 4, I am hoping that it's going to show us way more about the game, like the story mode and all that, and how it's going to be a Metroid game that goes beyond what Metroid Prime has been. So I think there'll be time travel, going through portals, maybe going back to certain events that took place in previous Metroid games. That would be freaking sick. I think, popular 2D Metroid characters like Kraid will basically make an appearance. I think they're going to really go all out. They have to go all out with this game, all right? This has to be the ultimate Metroid game. And yes, I am hoping that they are going to reveal online multiplayer for this game. Online multiplayer, PvE, PvP, PvE, VP, I mean, all of that cool shit. I really hope they do that. I really think that would be freaking great. That would be perfect for a Metroid game. I mean, a Metroid game that has like Dark Souls type elements to it, I think would be extremely awesome, and I think it would sell very well, and I think people who love those type of games would be invested in Metroid even if they've never played Metroid before. So, yeah, I think that might be a big possibility. So let's see if they actually do that. Let's see if they actually decide to make this a big epic multiplayer game, and even just a big epic single player game with lots of cool stuff to do in single player that could attract a much broader audience to the franchise. All right, last but certainly not least, and I do believe there's going to be more shown than what I'm predicting here, but I'm just going with things I really want to see and things that have a high probability, But the last thing I think they will do is probably announce free DLC for Mario Kart World. Now, people lately have been saying, oh, Mario Kart World is dead, this and that, whatever. People always say stupid stuff like this, and it's not even true. But definitely, I'm sure the fun has kind of been, the buzz for the game has kind of been killed a little bit, and I'm sure there's probably a reason for that. Perhaps Nintendo is trying to get more people to invest in other great games like Donkey Kong Bonanza, Kirby Air Riders, and Metroid. Maybe that's kind of their strategy. It's like, yeah, we're gonna add stuff later on to Mario Kart World, but first we need to promote these other games. So I'm wondering if they're gonna just announce some DLC for Mario Kart World, and I'm wondering if they're gonna add like a story mode or maybe some boss battles. You have all of these like giant, monsters, dinosaurs, NPCs. They're just, constantly trying to get in your way and attack you while you're racing. So I would think they would try to do something similar to Diddy Kong Racing, where there's like, you could race against these big, huge, behemoths, or maybe you have to fight them in a boss battle or something. I think they might do something like that. Not sure, not entirely sure. They might announce like, yeah, DLC coming soon, and it will come out next year, once you guys have gotten your fill of Metroid Prime 4 and Kirby Air Riders. Who knows? And it might be free. They might say, look, free DLC for all the crybabies who can't accept this game being $80. Anyways, I think that's something they might do. Maybe not. Maybe they'll be like, nope, fuck you, still pay for this DLC. Who knows? But I think it's going to be an awesome event, an awesome direct. I believe it's going to definitely have a strong first party support in it. So you guys let me know what you think about all of my predictions here. Punch Out, F-Zero, Star Fox making their return, Kirby Planet Robot getting a Redux version. A deluxe version. So yeah, let me know. I will talk to you guys later. Cannot freaking wait for this direct. It's gonna be sick. See you guys later.